Good morning and welcome to Secret Behind Our Success. I am your host, Rebecca Rausch, head lizard at Neon Lizard Creative Marketing and Design, where we build foundational brands with social impact. Find us on the web at neonlizardcreative.com. Today I am beyond jazzed to present to you the man, the legend, the genie who can make your business fantasies come true. Joe Sinkwitz, co-founder and CEO at IntelliFluence in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me today, Rebecca.
What's the weather like down there today?
It's warm as it is
120?
every single July. Very warm.
I actually used to live in Arizona for about 10 years. I loved it.
Oh, wow.
And now I'm in Minnesota.
Well, so I mean, how do lizards survive in Minnesota?
It's not really all that easy, but my skin is definitely thickened for sure. But I do miss Arizona. I had a great time with there. So when I was stalking you, like we talked about earlier, and trying to learn all about you so I could share you with our audience, you mentioned having a co-founder,
Mhm.
but I never heard a name to that. Can
Yeah,
you enlighten me?
absolutely. Terry Godier. He's on our About page. So Terry and I were kicking around the idea of doing something together in
Mhm.
2016. I had been recruited to be a CMO of a consumer packaged goods company out in Hollywood. And the
Mhm.
idea initially, when I got pulled in, was I was going to bring Terry on board, have him on my line items, and we're going to do something really cool. We just could never get it to work within the structure of the organization. At that time, we were kicking back and forth charts like, hey, look at this, influencer marketing is going up and to the right. He is more of a marketer with strong development skills, and I'm
Mhm.
more of a marketer with stronger marketing skills, lesser development. So we had some overlap, but we decided, hey, you be the marketer, you be the developer, and let's just put something together. So we did. And we did that in the summer of 2016. And we just started pushing
Mhm.
it. We launched a version. It failed miserably. We learned from our
Oh
failures,
no.
made it better. Yeah, so Terry was with us until late 2017. He needed to go and get another job, and so we provided like a really nice exit. We wanted to keep him on the cap table, so he still has a piece because we want him. If we ever hit it really, really big, I want him to have a piece of that. He deserves
Right.
that. So definitely, right now he's an advisor to the company.
Well, I was really impressed with it. As I was telling you, I went ahead and signed up as an influencer. I was so excited because I didn't know just little people, anybody could be an influencer on your thing. I love that everyone is an influencer no matter who you are, you influence people around you. So I love that concept because I'm a big believer in that with branding and making sure that you influence people and you lead people within your brand. So I was impressed by the fluidity, that's it, fluidity
Mhm.
of the website itself and how easy it was to use and how easy it was to sign up and how clear and your marketing on that was fantastic because it was very, very clear. What is your goal? How many influencers? What's your end goal for this puppy?
Yeah. So I mean, the end goal can shift a lot depending on the day, right? I
Yeah.
think like when we started this, my idea was to try to democratize influence, and in order to do that, you definitely do have to allow for some growth on very low levels of influence. People that have one follower are still influential to that one person, and give them the
Right.
mechanisms to try to improve and grow and like make money out of this thing. So our end goal is to get to the point where anyone could purchase the influence of anyone else. That's a really far-reaching goal. That's like Microsoft computer on every table sort of goal. So I don't know how far off that is. I just know that that's the end that I have in mind. And every day, our goal is to just try to improve some aspect of the company by at least a percent. Whether it's the size of the network, whether it's reducing some friction in the sign-up process or some element within the campaign process. Just try to make things a little bit better. In aggregate, it snowballs and it becomes a much better product and company a year out.
It's this almost like target marketing on steroids, right?
It
In a way.
is. Yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, you were a programmer originally, right?
long time ago. Yes.
I'm married to a Java programmer, and that guy has no creativity. How in the world did you get doing this from that.
Maybe because I was a bad programmer. No, I mean, I developed tax software, which is not the most exciting thing in the world.
No.
And it was just one of those things where you could be analytical, and then you could step out of that and then have some dreams. And that's really all it is about. But I certainly can't take credit for, everything. We have, 8 people full time. We have a couple part time. So we have really good design. We have really good product people that understand what the consumer wants, whether it's the influencer or the brand. So everyone's pulling a lot of weight. And so I'm just trying to, make sure everyone's happy. That's my goal. That's my job.
Well, I was excited just when I was reading your thing on LinkedIn, and you have all these little tongue-in-cheek coding comments in there. So if anybody's out there listening, go check out his LinkedIn profile, because I was so excited that I understood what it meant when you said comment out, but you used the terminology in coding.
Yeah.
I was like, I know what that means. So that is so cool. Now you've got specialties in SEO, SEM, SMM, influencer marketing, affiliate network development. How is that different than the influencer marketing?
Well, I think so in the affiliate world that I really cut my teeth in. So I got into that world the same time as SEO. So that was in the late 90s. I was still in school. A doctor needed a new website. And, at the time I thought I was a programmer. So I'm like, sure, let's do a website. Building it. And I got pushed into marketing because he needed to figure out how to sell stuff on his site too. It was, at that time, it was Alta Vista. And so learn how to sell Viagra on Alta Vista. From there, once you're in that world, they don't let you out of that world. So you start making connections with other people that are buying and selling traffic. I ended up into the subprime financial space in a large capacity, insurance, that world. So that was all the affiliate development and building up sites. So we built up a portfolio of 5,000 or so sites. We got to about 10 million revenue a year. And so we were just sort of cranking. We had our own little machine going until April 24th, 2012, when the Penguin algorithm from Google just really wiped us out. And it really helped me to recognize the weaknesses that we had in that particular venture, where we were completely over levered, where we were spending, $500,000 a month in just links, and it was rented links. So if you ever stop paying, they go away. And you just start to see the weaknesses. And so I never wanted to recreate those weaknesses. I wanted to fortify my next venture, which was IntelliFluence, to prevent that from ever happening again.
Wow. So now you did a little bit of that black hat SEO, and people don't get that confused with the other black hat. So do you want to define the difference there?
I do, actually. I've spoken about it a lot. And the way that I like to say is a black hat versus white hat. All it really means is a terms of service. Whether you agree with the terms of service as it's laid out in terms of being the rules of the system, or you recognize what the true rules of the system are, regardless of whether they say it works. And so with Google's very, very good. Their primary engineering, I think, is their public relations. They know how to spin things just right. So, they like to conflate people that will get links to promote a site as spam. And then they try to conflate spam to malware or to hacking. Black hat SEO is not hacking. Just get that out of your head. What?
Is it more like loopholes? Legal loopholes that you're able to work with?
Legal loopholes is a great way to look at it. I just look at it in terms of like a system. You're looking at a ranking algorithm. So all you're looking to do is saying which variable are they actually putting weight on. Is it more on the repeat user signaling? Is it more on the links today? Is it, did something happen with anchor text? Did something happen with, the overall size document, how it's pulling? Is it going to be related to the layout shifting? There's so many variables, right? And so you're just trying to figure out what's really happening versus what they say is happening.
So you're kind of a detective.
And back in the day, that's not an inaccurate way to sort of look at it. So there's a lot of us.
You're a digital Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, I don't know about that. But back in the day, the information, it was a lot freer in terms of we'd share information a bit in like the SEO book forum. That was a great place to do that. Since then, that it's sort of changed. A lot of everyone kind of went in-house and did their own thing. So a lot of that world has disappeared in the last 10 years, unfortunately.
Now, you love to educate people. I saw that you were on Learning Hub and that you write articles a lot about VR, AR, AI, all sorts of good stuff. It looks like. Are you still doing that?
I am. So the reasoning for that is I'm sort of dog fooding what I try to pitch, where in terms of when I was a well-respected SEO, but when I got in the influencer world, no one really knew who I was. The only way to really put my name out there was to write a book. So I did. So I sat down, we took a little over a year to put it together, and then almost as long to edit the dang thing. And so it goes live. The articles on like AR, VR, what we're doing there is I was challenged, try to use influencers in every single medium. Can you do it? And the answer is, yeah, you really can. If you sit down and you think about, could you use influencers as a concept within skywriting? Certainly. You could use like local celebrity sort of influence to try to push people to a particular restaurant. There's ways to do it. And so that's where the AR VR came out, where I was trying to think about how you would go about utilizing influence within the channel.
Well, the name of your book is The Ultimate Guide to Influencer Marketing. You can find it on Amazon. And I was excited to see that and wondering about your process in that. I'm in the middle of writing one right now myself, and it's overwhelming because I'm drafting it and it's like, oh no, I got to redo it. I'm curious to see how long it takes, but it's impressive.
Yeah.
It's a nice book. It's a nice looking book.
It's so my process is not the Stephen King process where he'll just sit down and he can crank out 10 pages, no problem. My process was I needed to outline the various chapters that I knew I needed to cover because I knew I needed to cover certain steps. And then I would just make a really detailed blog post and I'd get feedback on the blog post, and that feedback would inform the chapter in the book. So we did sort of piecemeal over time.
That's actually a brilliant way of doing that. I might have to steal that idea.
Please do. I'm sure I'm not the first one to do that.
Now, in a way, like in branding, we're so big on testimonials. And what's the difference between that and influencer marketing? Can you define that for me?
I'd say that they're actually, it's a component of it. So testimonials, so long as it's an honest testimonial, absolutely. That individual is using their influence as either, an expert or as a peer to an audience coming in. That's their influence. And so that testimonial passes the muster.
You had a series of the kinds of influencers, the categories. Would you like to define those?
Well, I mean, I like to bucket them into 3 types. So I look at it in terms of aspirational, which is the celebrity. Everyone knows.
Tony Robbins?
Sure, Tony Robbins would probably be in that for the business side of things, but not. So he's actually kind of in 2 buckets. I'd put Tony in celebrity aspirational influence, but I'd also put him in authoritative because people will look up to him for a very specific subject matter, usually like a business process, overcoming fear, doubt, etc. So, he could be in that. Authoritative, it just means that you're viewed as an expert in some field. It could be a very small field, but you're still an expert. And then peer is really the powerful one. That's your neighbors, your friends, your family. That's where the signal has a lot of strength. You don't really ever want to rely on a single type of influence. Like you can create a compulsion loop by getting people aware of a product via like celebrity influence, and then have that being affirmed by experts saying, yes, this celebrity is correct. And then it's dogpiling, having all your friends and family also saying, yeah, I bought the product too. You start to feel left out. It's the keeping up with the Joneses thing.
Well, when I was reading that, like you were talking about the micro influencers, the peer and the micro influencers that are smaller, and it made me think of a book that I read one time it's called The Fallacy Detective. You ever read that?
I've read that.
It's a kid's book teaching them about fallacy, and I read it to my kids. And don't read it to your kids; they can argue you to the ground after you.
Perfect.
It is a great book, and it's a really fun read. But they twisted words and made intentional fallacy in order to influence people to do things, and that's what it's about: is how people use fallacy to manipulate others, not necessarily in a negative way. They don't mean to do it a lot of times. So what makes an influencer go from a relevant, interesting person to someone being followed like the Beatles without engaging in a bunch of fallacy?
Ooh, boy. Usually, I think the biggest thing is just competence in execution. So an influencer, let's say it's an everyday cosmetic influencer,
Mhm.
if he or she were to want to become the influencer for that, they need to hyper specialize. So become the very best at brows or the very best at brow tweaking, whatever that subsection of a subsection of a subsection is. If they're always putting out really detailed, comprehensive, intelligent work on that subject, they will absolutely be found because brands will reach out to them. Everyone starts to reach out to them. Once they become known for that, it's the concept of in technology, you want to specialize and then become a generalist. Like most CTOs are generalists. They specialize at one point in their career, but after a certain point, you can't be an expert in everything. So you these sort of hyper specialize, go up the chain, and then you can spread out. And so that's how an influencer might start in, a very, very specific brow tweak, whatever, and then become a top cosmetic, followed by a bunch of people that are really into cosmetics. Maybe
Okay,
not the
because that
Beatles, but
yeah,
they don't have to lie about it.
a lot of people are doing the niche focus now with their businesses and just planning on, okay, I'm just going to be this kind of in the design world, everybody's doing that. We
Mm-hmm.
don't do that. We're kind of all over the place in the sense that we like to do the whole brand and we don't really care what um, industry they're in. We just want to go and be this service to them, right? But I've seen so many of other agencies niche down like that. Would you say that that is the best way to grow your influence as an agency or as a service-based business?
I think it depends on the talent, right? So if you have a talent that's able to tackle a variety of topics, then you can become kind of the agency of record, and so you can handle multiple things.
Mhm.
What I like about the hyper specialization is we've had a lot of conversations with PE firms recently, and they're always looking for a company that fits a very specific need that they could bolt on to a bigger, larger product and process. So those agencies that are very hyper specialized, they're probably going to have an exit and they might be able to have a good multiple on the revenue for the book of like usually in 3 to 5 on agencies that they sell for, usually the book of
Mhm.
business, the multiple. So there's you can play it both ways. Like with the agency we have, we're very, very specialized. We only really like to do a certain type of SEO work. We don't really like to go beyond that because we don't want to get stuck doing audits. We'd rather just go in and do the ORM or the really dirty penalty process cleanup. But some agencies love to take it all, and it's just I think it's up to the team.
For the listeners, will you define ORM?
Oh, certainly. Online reputation management,
Hey, you throw out those
i.e.,
acronyms, not everybody knows them.
yeah, usually it's one rich person that's in a fight with another rich person, and you're the digital arms dealer.
All right, now I wanted to find out one particular thing, and then I want to kind of pull off a business a little bit and just learn more about you as a person. But if you said that there was like one pivotal thing in your life that changed everything, that's not the penguin event, that made you grow to who you are today, that you feel from a like a something you said to yourself or an experience that changed your perspective on this is how I'm going to do business now. This is how I'm going to move forward in life.
I mean, I always sort of viewed it as Forrest Gumping my way forward. But if I had to go back to a particular point, it was probably taking an interview at KPMG and sitting down with Eric Kaufman, who ended up becoming my boss and then became my friend. And now he's the head of our product here at the company. So
Wow.
I think it was just the random encounter and cultivating that particular relationship, which led to a stream of things down that I never could have predicted.
Isn't that crazy? What life's going to bring you. What about a mantra? Do you have anything that you say to yourself that kind of when things get rough that you would
Not
suggest to someone coming up behind you?
Boy, so I never I tried to do the mantra thing a long time ago. Really, I think the big thing I try to do is just the daily grind. There's the dirty work that has to be done every single day. I just try to get it done. Try to get it done as early in the day as I possibly can. And if I do that, maybe the rest of the day won't suck. And so
I
just
think there's a book on that called Eat the Frog.
it's that I'm very familiar with the eat the frog, the Buddhist concept, eat that slimy frog and the rest of your day is basically golden, right? So
Right.
it's not a bad concept, but it's not really a mantra I have. It's just a philosophy I try to espouse.
Well, you're disciplined on many levels, though. I mean, the running while you're working or
Well,
walking
it's
while
turned
you're
off right now.
working. Is it?
Yeah,
Thank you. Otherwise, you'd be bouncing.
yeah, it would be.
um, yeah, that's really a fascinating thing, and I loved. I was watching one of your podcasts with someone else or television appearances, and you were talking about digitally walking your way to Munich.
Oh yeah.
And and so one of my questions for you, I thought that was really cool that you were measuring your miles as long as it would take you to get to there. I thought that was just a brilliant way of promoting that. But at the same time, I thought, I wonder how many miles he's walked in his life. If he's ever just really sat down and wrote
No,
that out.
no, like
Because you've
in
been
really
through multiple treadmills, I hear.
oh, so many. So the extraputic, I really like that model. I wish they'd bring it back because it had like a little bit of an incline you could do. So
Mhm.
that was really my first jump into doing the treadmill stuff. And at the time, like I was trying to overcome, I got depressed after Penguin. Like it wiped me out to the point where it was
Oh,
like
I
I was
bet.
close to retiring, and all of a sudden I got to get a job. But so I think I made it to like somewhere in the mid-Atlantic on that particular push. Like,
Yeah.
when you do the miles, and I
But
didn't make
that's
it all the
just
way to
one
Munich.
push. When you think about how much you walk every day.
That was a lot. I mean, that was so much back then. So like now I'm probably only walking 3 to 5 miles a day. And then we do the metabolic training later in the day for weights at speed. But at that time, like we were doing like a marathon every day. Like my feet were starting to bleed. So it's like, I'm not going to do this long term. This is sort of just I set a goal. I'm going to do the damn goal. And then, once Munich came and went, it was like, okay, I'm good. I'm done.
Well, some of your people should have sent you new shoes. Some of
Oh,
your,
yeah, that would have been nice. I
yeah,
would have settled
you
for
should
something.
announce that.
Yeah.
And I love the idea that you are self-deprecating in the sense of you don't care if you wear costumes and things like that to get your point across. I thought that was a lot of fun too. You just got all sorts of fun things going on. You had Santa, and what else have you dressed up as?
Well, I mean, the Penguin, I think, kind of kicked it off. Santa, I did Snape.
Yeah,
I had to do a conference in London, so I dressed up as Severus Snape. That was a lot of fun. Baymax, if you've ever seen Big Hero 6, it's
yeah.
like an inflatable robot. So I bought
Uh-huh.
this rather expensive inflatable robot, has 2 fan units, and I presented at a conference. Disney liked it so much that I got to go and do the presentation at Disney. And so the kids got to go on rides for the day. They loved it. That was their favorite
Oh,
trip.
how fun.
Yeah.
And you have two boys, is that right?
So I have a boy and 2 girls. Yeah.
A boy and two girls. I didn't realize you had three. That's awesome. So that was all three of them on your Facebook page then, I guess, and you're in the little,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're
They're
riding some
hitting it.
wagon or something.
Yeah.
That's so cute. I love kids. I've got 4 kids myself,
Oh
so
boy.
mine are mostly grown and still at home. I don't know if they're ever going to leave. But let's see. I had also, let me think. I want to make sure that I've covered everything that I wanted to cover with you because I just found you so fascinating, and I think everybody else will too. Um, let me see. All right. No, I'm not going to do that one. Okay. The future of youth and influencer marketing. When I think of my kids and how much they watch YouTube and how much they watch all these different things, when you're doing the influencer marketing, you're primarily working with adults, correct?
For the most part, yes. I mean, well, we'll allow at 13 years old, but they have to have parental permission. And like really,
And,
we prefer 18 and over.
right. And what do you think the path forward is going to be? What's going to happen in 2030? What do you think is going to happen between now and then regarding influencer marketing, and how do you think that will evolve?
So I think the concept will always be here. I mean, because if you think about it, it's word of mouth, and then word of mouth
Digital word of mouth. Yeah.
exactly, and then it goes into digital channels. I think the channels themselves may change as we look at like adoption. So TikTok growing very, very fast. There's a decent amount of overlap with Instagram, and I recently researched this for an article. I noticed that this sort of pulling away at Instagram. Instagram's getting older. As they're getting older, they're making more money because the share of wallet goes up. It's older millennials now and a little bit of Gen Z. Now with Instagram, I'm sorry, with TikTok, it's kind of the reverse. There's some millennial, but it's a lot more Gen Z where they don't have as many jobs. They're not old enough yet to be, out of the house and doing all that stuff. So I think it's sort of like as the the channel gets adopted by the youth, then it gets adopted by older, populations, and then the youth doesn't want to be there because the old people are there, and they jump on to the next one. Like, I'm not on TikTok daily. It's not for me. It's totally cool. I'll look at like compilation videos on YouTube, or my oldest daughter will send me funny stuff, and no, that's cool. But like, there'll be another channel and another channel and another channel. Like, think about it. Like, when MySpace was getting big, the people that were really big in MySpace, they're on Facebook now. They're really not on TikTok. They're not on whatever's next.
Okay. Well, which platform do you think is the most influential?
I think it's on the subject matter basis. I think with various elections, it's hard to discount how influential Twitter was. Like, it's become just such an incredible broadcast mechanism that I think is still really woefully underfunded and undervalued. The ability to connect with people on Twitter is amazing. Like, you could find people that are your hero or the absolute expert in your field, and you got potentially 280 characters to wow them enough to start up a conversation and take that off channel. So I'm going to say Twitter for now. That I still think there's a lot of magic in it.
Wow, that I would not have expected that. I figured you'd say LinkedIn. So
I like LinkedIn. I have a
Mhm.
lot of issues with LinkedIn. I think it's been neglected in a lot of ways, technologically, well before the Microsoft purchase. So, like, while I think it's still the best for just pure B2B, it's not doing a lot to push it forward. And plus, that breach really made a lot of people mad. Nearly 92% of contacts have been leaked out. So we're all going to get a lot of spam. We're all going to probably want to sign up for some credit monitoring stuff.
Already getting it. Now, one thing I also heard was you were doing something, you were baking. So are you a closet baker?
Closet baker.
Closet Martha Stewart?
I do fun stuff with the kids, and so we called it the Naked Baker. Not actually naked. I'll put that out there.
I would hope not.
No, and so we just did funny things like Angry Man's Meatloaf. Just, having, I think she was 9 at the time, just punching some ground beef. Just stupid, just having fun. My sister is a very, very good baker, Knickknacks Bakeology, but I'm very amateur.
Oh, I don't know about that, because I was looking at your alcoholic cookie things you were doing. That had like 3 different kinds of alcohol in a cookie. I thought, man, that's like a pot brownie.
And, yeah, the neighbors. So you got to impress them each year. So you got to step it up.
And then you love you a good burger, right?
I do.
All right. So where's the best burger?
So the best burger. I'm a big fan of a place near in here. I think it's now becoming a chain. It's called Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers, and they do something called the O-Lineman, which is a ground beef, and it's injected with pepper jack.
No.
And then the buns are actually grilled cheese sandwiches.
No.
So it's a ridiculously caloric
heart attack
thing.
on a plate.
Yeah, I can have like one every 6 to 9 months.
That does sound really good. I love me some food. Okay, so now the thing I'm going to do is I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Ocean Personality Test. Are you?
Nope.
Okay. Well, it finds out a little bit more about you, what moves you, and it's 6 really quick questions. And it's not like the DISC profile. It's not that, specific, but you just answer low, medium, or high. Are you willing to do it? And that way people that are listening that want to work with you know how to work with you better.
Interesting. Sure. Why not?
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Openness. If you are high in openness, you love trying new things and having new experiences. Low, medium, or high?
Medium.
Conscientiousness. What is your level when you
High.
approach organization and details? I bet you're very high.
High.
Very high, yeah, being a programmer. Extroversion. If you're an extrovert, you can thrive around people. You can't get enough human interaction.
Medium.
Medium. You got to have your private time, your alone time. Agreeableness. If you rate high in agreeableness, you are likely a friendly and compassionate people pleaser.
Low. I don't know. Medium, probably. Depends who you talk to.
I love the action. I wish people could see him. He sat back and crossed his arms like a bratty child saying, "No, daddy, not going." Neuroticism. Neurotic isn't a bad thing. It just means you worry, have anxiety. Maybe you have high stress levels, and
Hi.
you're
Oh
high
yeah,
neurotic. Well, that's it. So that's kind of interesting. I'll send you the transcript on this, so you'll have that for yourself as
that's
well.
intriguing. I'll have to look into this a little bit deeper.
Yeah, it's neat. I follow a ton of influencers. I want to be a real influencer one day, but I love Vanessa Van Edwards with The Science of People. And
Okay.
look her up. She's awesome. And you can just watch videos all day long. Her book Captivate is really, really good too. So I just love her. So your website is intellifluence.com, INTELLIFLUENCE.
Nailed
And
it.
I'm reading it, so I'm not that good. But so if someone wants to get in touch with you, they want to be part of this, or they want to book somebody who's really big, because you broker people too, right?
Mhm.
So if
We
I
do.
wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger to come to
Yeah.
my party, could you find him? I mean, is that
That'd be
anything that you
trickier.
would do?
That'd be a trickier one. Like if they're a mega celebrity, I mean, what I could probably do, you could always go to like appointments.intellifluence.com and we'll try our best. But for someone like that, I would probably connect you with whomever their agent is, because at that level, a lot of the mega celebrities, they don't want to interact with networks. They want to kind of keep themselves siloed. I totally get it, because there's a big attention drain that goes on. So from there, if they're mega, you could generally even find out just doing some quick research on
Mhm.
who's their agent of record and just ping them. That'll probably be quicker. But if you want to start with us, that's totally fine. Appointments.intellifluence.com, and we'll try to hook you up.
Now, with some of the influencers that you have, who has the most followers?
Ooh, that's a good question. I have it pulled up. Let me see if I'm still authenticated in my own system
I
here.
was trying to ask questions you have not been asked before.
So Pedro Figueira looks like he's the biggest right now. He's got 23 million. He's primarily, looks like 10 million YouTube, 7 million TikTok, 6 million Instagram, and probably smattering elsewhere. So like we probably
Now, is
have,
he part of your group? Is he part of Influence?
he signed up for it, yes.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah,
That
so
is a
we
lot
probably have
of followers.
a couple hundred that are over a million, and then we probably have triple that are
Really?
like a million to 100,000. Yeah. So it's, if you think of like a typical pyramid distribution, 80-20, it's there's,
Mhm.
I think our reach is like 3.5 billion now. Obviously, we haven't deduped or anything, because that'd be damn near impossible. But it's really set up where there's a lot of big people and there's a ton of medium and small people. So there's a little bit for everyone.
So if I was someone and I came to you and I wanted one of the biggest people, how does that work?
It's pretty simple. Once they're authenticated, we have an influencer list, so they could filter on categories or specialties, on keyword, geography, whatever they need to do, and then they could just click and then send them a pitch. And we try to keep it as simple as possible.
Okay, but it's up to the influencer on whether or not they take it. It's not
Yes,
like
exactly.
you're not calling him up and saying, "Hey, Bob, this lady over here."
No, generally not. So it's software as a service. We just try to make it so that the influencers see the pitches that they want to see, and the brands interact with the influencers they want to interact with. If there's something where it's an incredible deal and I have a close relationship with the brand, we might reach out additional to that influencer and say, hey, this is something special. Might look into it a little bit outside the normal channel. But for the most part, almost everything is done within the platform without much incidents.
Now that means you're rubbing shoulders with some pretty important people. That's
I don't
exciting.
know about that. I mean, I really try not to differentiate, and it's really hard because we have to kind of hammer our own philosophy multiple times. We say that there's 3 users in the system. There's the brands, there's the influencers, and there's us. We have to treat everyone as fairly as possible in any such sort of situation. So we can never preference ourselves over the influencer or the brand, can never preference the brand over us and the influencer, sort of like always trying to keep a balance. Because of that, we
Mhm.
don't really get carried away with how big the brand is or how small the influencer is. We just try to view it in that context, because we feel the time horizon a decade out will have made the right decision.
That's great. So if I really love the philosophy of that, because I call that living your brand values, living your brand style. So you have values within yourself and you make sure that it comes through in everything, every part of your brand. And I think that's very key to having a successful brand. So I love that you're doing that. If you were to give, I'm going to ask you one more main question, and then we'll figure out how people can get in touch with you. But what advice would you give to anyone who wants to be an influencer?
Just start. I mean, that's the biggest stuff. Get started. Don't put too much time and thought into which channel. Well, I'll back up a little bit. You do have to pick a channel that you're going to be interested in and just start putting stuff out there. But then once you get a feeling of what you like, then hyper specialize, because that hyper specialization, whatever content channel that is, maybe it's doing videos on a particular subject, maybe it's doing still photography, maybe it's writing, whatever it is, hyper specialize. Then from there, you'll start to have brands pitch you. Interact with the community. There's going to be a lot of other experts in your field. Help them, because collaborations are a very real thing. You helping out, the Rebecca getting going, that might come back at some point. Don't expect it to, it just might. And so these little viral loops happen where you can grow your authority over time, and you'll have more fun that way too.
All right, I lied. I'm going to ask you one more question.
Sure.
When I was filling out my little form, because I wanted to be an influencer with you, I want to try this out, see how great it is. I did have a question when it came to the things that interested you. Do you put in what you're good at, or do you put in the kind of stuff you want to have thrown at you as a deal?
Yeah, that is the age-old question. The advice I try to tell people is to view any sort of influencer profile, whether us or any other network, as a mashup between your resume and a dating profile. What do you like to do? What have you done? How do people get in contact with you? How's the best way to work with you? That will ultimately probably weave the best successful route.
Okay, I was really impressed with how everything flowed together. It was very well done. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So for those that are listening, what do you want them to do next?
Sure. So I mean, if you want to reach out to me, I am pretty active on LinkedIn, Joe Sinkwitz, you'll find me. If you have an email you need to send me, I'm joe@intellifluence.com. I read all my emails personally. Again, if you need an appointment just to get a walk through the software, you'll be able to find it on the site, but otherwise you can go to appointments.intellifluence.com and we can help you out that way.
Well, thank you so much. You've been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot of fun things, and I think we're all going to be better for it. I love people like you that are changing the world. So
well, thank
that's
you for
great.
being so well researched.
Well, I hope you felt that way. I hope I asked some questions nobody else ever has. Make it more interesting for you. Hopefully I didn't make you feel weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you everyone for listening, and thank you to Joe Sinkwitz of intellifluence.com. And we'll see you next time on the stories behind our success.